Good evening, everyone. We will begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for the permission and protection granted us while participating today in God's divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito, the prayer of heaven, followed by the Miroku Prayer. Please stand. 高天原にかむずまります。かむろぎかむろみのみこともちて。すめみよやかむいざなぎのみこと。つくしのひもかの立ち花の。おどのあはぎはらに。みそぎ払いたもうときになりませる。払いどの神たち、もろもろのまがごと積みけがれよ。払いたまえ清めたまえとまおすことのよしよ。天津神国津神青よろずの神たちともに、雨の淵駒の耳振り立てて、きこしめせとかしこみもまおす。弥勒を三上守りたまえ先はいたまえ。弥勒を三上守りたまえ先はいたまえ。教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先はいたまえ。教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先はいたまえ。かんながらたまちはえませ。かんながらたまちはえませ。Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. May God and Meishu-sama bless you. Today's teaching is entitled Paradise on Earth. It's found on Daily Inspirations, page 29. I'm doing my utmost to help fulfill God's marvelous plan of establishing paradise on earth. A civilization in which disease, poverty, and conflict no longer exist will be a paradise on earth. Paradise on earth is a world where truth, virtue, and beauty manifest in perfect form. The aim of our spiritual movement is to establish a paradise on earth by helping to create and promote a spiritual civilization that will develop alongside our present material civilization. Paradise on earth is the phrase I have used to describe a world free from disease, poverty, and conflict, a world that has long been the ideal of humanity. Over the ages, spiritual leaders from various cultures have prophesied the advent of such a world without specifying a time frame for the realization of such ideals. However, I have become aware of the fact that the moment is close at hand. It would be extremely fortunate for humanity if paradise on earth could be established without any major changes. The truth is, however, that in order for an ideal world to be realized, the cleansing of the present world must first be accomplished, just as an old house must be razed and the site cleared before a new house can be built. There will be a number of parts from the old structure that will still be usable and thus be spared, but their selection, of course, is up to God. To survive, all human beings must become useful members of the new civilization. By doing so, we can surmount this great change and pass God's test. This can only be achieved through faith in God. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. This evening, I have the faith experience of Bonifacia Chilombo Monica Sel. She's from the Futungo Johrei Center in Angola. Excuse me. Bonifacia is a missionary and she's in charge of Ikebana Sangetsu activities in her Johrei Center. She was introduced to our church through her husband, who already made his transition to the spiritual realm. The reasons behind her being guided were illnesses, marital conflicts, and the excessive use of alcoholic beverages by her husband. When sick, he suffered from pain in his feet, a situation that lasted for 7 months. In the Johrei Center, Bonifacia was received by a missionary who, after listening to her, gave her guidance about our basic practices of faith. She carried out the practice without difficulties, and after a while, everything troublesome she described was surpassed. Her husband, who was out of a job, started to work. At the time to express gratitude for the blessings received, she decided to become a member to better serve in the divine work. The faith experience that she would like to share with us is related to cleaning houses, channeling Johrei, and home gardening. Months ago, she decided to visit her sister that she hadn't seen for some time. When she got there, Bonifacia found all her sister's children sick, and one of them in serious condition. She asked God and Meishu-sama for the permission to be utilized as his instrument. Thus, she started cleaning the house, made a home garden, and channeled Johrei to the children all day and night. In the morning, the health condition of the children improved. Her sister had just a wooden stove to cook, but her brother-in-law was able to buy a gas stove for his family. Her niece, who slept on top of cardboards, got a mattress that her father also bought for her. Bonifacio's brother-in-law, who even working couldn't improve his life, after the house cleaning, everything changed. They didn't have electricity before, now they got it. And he who couldn't have an ID card in his name, now finally managed to get one. Last month, her neighbor left home to sell at the street market as usual. Upon arriving at the market, she began to feel intense stomach pains and soon fell unconscious. As the situation was serious, she was taken to the hospital where she was later assisted. Back home during the night, the situation got worse, and as it was already late, Bonifacia went to ask permission at her altar and started to channel Johrei to her for more than 3 hours. As the neighbor recovered, she managed to sleep peacefully. Today she's in good health. Another case, a woman whose 4-year-old son had been admitted to the hospital with an illness that led him to receive a blood transfusion. After recovering and having been discharged at home, the child was unable to speak for nearly 30 days. One day, Bonifacia went to her neighbor's house to have braids done in her hair, and suddenly this lady appeared with her child. But before being attended to, Bonifacia asked everyone present to receive Johrei. The next day, the child's mother came running to say that something had happened during the night. The time Bonifacio was a little afraid that something bad had happened. However, the lady said that after the prayer they had received, which was Johrei, her son, who had not spoken since they left the hospital almost a month ago, a few hours ago, began to speak according to her. Today, this lady has been already attending our church. On Bonifacio's part, she had the following changes. Before, she couldn't live in a decent house. Today, she managed to rent a comfortable one where she lives with her son. She used not to be comfortable and get along with people around her, but with God's grace, now she's able to socialize normally. Additionally, she had difficulty in assimilating things in her head, but now she improved in this regard as well. Bonifacia had difficulties in making beautiful flower arrangements for the Johrei Center, but with the permission of God and Meishu-sama, she is already improving. With all these changes to express her gratitude, she made a special donation. Boniface is very thankful to God, Meishu-sama, and her ancestors for having been utilized as an instrument and for being guided to this wonderful path of salvation. Thank you very much for attending the evening service of Miroku Association headquarters. I wish you a wonderful evening and a wonderful week ahead of all of us. Thank you very much. This brings to a conclusion our evening service. Thank you everyone for joining us. We wish you a very blessed evening.